Hi guys. Given that it is the second shortest day of the year, we have a really special location that we're going to be filming today. So let's hop on the bike and go there.
All right, let's go check out our super cool filming location. This is some serious off-road. Oh, obstacles. Woo! That was tough. All right.
Today we are filming in the backyard. Now, if you are anything like me, then you bought an adventure bike or a dual sport because you wanted a bike that was going to be a jack of all trades. And quite frankly, the luggage that you put on that bike should follow suit. So what exactly do I mean when we talk about a bike that can be a jack of all trades? Well, for me, that meant a few different things. First of all, it meant that I might be commuting to and from work. It could mean that I was just commuting through my own neighborhood here. It could also mean that I was looking to do some trips on the bike that were off-road or inspired by camping, so some moto camping trips, maybe some light duty adventure touring on some maintained dirt roads, or even some more enduro style things in the woods. And when I first bought my adventure bike, I didn't know that I was going to be doing all of those different types of riding. So all I saw was the cool press that came out with the bike, the awesome videos that Honda put out, and they always put out, of some guy riding through the desert, maybe on a bike that's fully loaded up with all the awesome looking hard luggage. So the first thing that I did was I went out and I got myself a hard case. So this is just the GV rear top case. First of all, I noticed that it was great on the street. It was lockable, waterproof, had tons of room in it, and even served as a nice backrest for a passenger on longer trips. What wasn't nice about it is that off-road, it was loud, it was heavy, it rattled around a lot. Ultimately, that inspired me to start looking at some other options for this bike. And one option that I considered was one that we had actually picked up for Bree's 250L, and that is the Nelson Rigg Trails End dual sport tail bag. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but we'll break into the top case here and I'll show you exactly what we're looking at. So this was the first bag that we bought. I thought it was a good size. It also had a good shape that fits the back of most bikes and kind of follows the same lines that the back of most bikes follow, so it didn't look too bad. And then also I was looking for a bag that still held its shape even when it was empty. That let me know that when it was time to start shopping for the Africa Twin, that might be a good option. Thankfully, Nelson Rigg actually makes a bigger version for bigger bikes. And so while this one here is the Nelson Rigg Trails End Dual Sport Tail Bag, this is the Nelson Rigg Trails End Adventure Tail Bag. And this is what I typically run on my bike all the time now. It's great for urban riding. It's great for running errands when I need to stow something away quickly. And it also lends itself well to off-road riding and moto camping. Okay, so to start, let's talk about some pros and cons of the Nelson Rigg Trails End Adventure and Dual Sport Bag. So for the pros, this is significantly more lightweight than something like a hard top case. So I believe that the top case, without any kind of mounting hardware or anything, comes in at almost 15 pounds. I believe that the biggest version of the Nelson Rigg bag comes in at about 5 pounds. So we're looking at a significant difference in weight there. This bag also allows you to do quite a bit of internal organization. Inside the bag here, there are some straps that hold things down to the base of the bag. Another outstanding pro of this bag is that it's relatively cheap, especially when you compare it to something like a hard case. But even compared to other soft bags that you can put on the back of your bike, the Nelson Rigg Trails End series of bags are some of the cheapest ones that you can get. Another pro is that because of the MOLLE straps on top, or the MOLLE webbing, you can add different MOLLE accessories to the top of the bag as well. Nelson Rigg makes a few of them that we'll look at in today's video, but you can add any sort of MOLLE accessory to the top and to the MOLLE webbing on the bag. And then the last pro is that these bags are actually expandable. So Nelson Rigg makes 3 different different sizes of this bag. The third size of this bag that they make that we don't have here is the Trails End Light bag. Now, as far as I can tell, the main difference between the Dual Sport tail bag and the light tail bag is that the Dual Sport tail bag is expandable and the light bag is not. Now, the cons with these bags, especially compared to something like a hard top case, is that first of all, they're not quick release bags. The straps are easy enough to attach to the bike, but it's not the same level of like quick release or convenience that you would get with a hard top case. The second con is that they're not lockable. Now, there is a dual zipper on the main compartment here, and technically, I suppose you could put like a tiny padlock or a cable lock between the zippers. They give you the ability to do that, but I don't really think that that's going to deter people from getting into your bag. Another con with these bags is that they're not waterproof. So Nelson Rigg says that these bags are water resistant, and I found that to be mostly true. They have been water resistant in most cases, except in the cases of like leaving the bag out overnight when it rains. They do make a rain cover that you can buy separately for these bags. They're not going to be as protective of your gear. So, for example, I have fallen over where my top case has taken the brunt of an impact on this bike, and I haven't even seen a dent in the top case, much less to anything that was inside of it. I don't think that I would get the same level of protection out of a soft bag like this. Another con of the soft bag is that you don't have a place where you can put all the stickers that document all the places that you've been and all the cool things that you want people to see when your bike is parked in the parking lot. Now that we've talked about some pros and cons with these bags, I can tell you about how the accessories that Nelson Rigg offers can kind of alleviate some of those cons and add to the pros here. The first one is an accessory rain cover. So this is something that's sold separately. It has a special zipper here for an expansion so that it expands with the bag, and it's completely waterproof. It doesn't cover the bottom of the bag, and so if you're riding through puddles, or if you're off-road and it's wet and you're constantly throwing mud and dirt and water up underneath the bag, then it's not going to protect that area. But if it's raining, or if you're expecting a heavy dew on a night where you're camping and you're storing things outside, you can pick up this rain cover. It'll keep everything inside your bag nice and dry. They sell 2 different sizes. So another accessory that you can get for these bags is an internal organization system. Basically, there's a ring that goes all along the interior of the bag, along the, around the inside of the bag, and it's lined with Velcro on the inside, and it comes with these little dividers so that you can kind of compartmentalize how things are stored inside the bag. This is a Nelson Rigg bottle holder. It interfaces with the MOLLE webbing on the top of the Trails End bags really well, and I found that even on the smaller one here, you can carry up to 2 bottle holders. If we open up the bag and look at the inside, these straps are in here. There's 4 straps, and then they Velcro together across from each other. Those are in there so that you can secure things to the bottom of the bag and they don't rattle around if you don't want them to. If you are using the internal organization, then it's going to negate the use of these straps. You just kind of have to push them down and out of the way if you're going to do that. Another good feature on the inside is this mesh pouch up here. This is typically where I would store the rain cover if I'm going to carry the rain cover with me and I don't have to have it on the bag all the time. There's also a couple of pin holders right here. You could stick like a tire pressure gauge or something like that in there. And then last on the feature list, of course, other than like the straps that you would use to attach it to the bike, are some D-rings right here that I find make it easy to strap things to the top of the bag if you need to have even more storage than what the bag offers itself. So now we'll talk about the way that I pack my tail bag. I'll start by showing you what I pack in here for moto camping, and then as I take things out, I'll kind of show you how it ends up being in the way that I use it for daily use. The first thing that you might notice is that, like I said before, I keep my rain cover in the top pocket right here. It stays there all the time unless I know beyond a reasonable doubt that I will not encounter rain or moisture on a trip. If I'm going moto camping, I want to move things that could break if I lay the bike over away from the side panniers and into the tail bag, because it's likely not going to get hit if I drop the bike if it's in the tail bag. So the first thing that I keep in here all the time if we are moto camping is my jet boil. It's a pretty expensive item, and also I imagine pretty fragile if it has a 550-pound bike laying on it. So I keep it in the tail bag right there. Typically, I will also carry like whatever cups I'm going to be using to drink out of right there next to the jet boil in the tail bag. And even with my tools, that leaves some room for some other things as well. In here, you may also notice that I am using the larger internal organization method that Nelson Rigg sells for this bag. We mentioned it earlier for the other bags. Now you can see it in use in this one, so it keeps everything in here nice and tight. Nothing really moves around or rattles around. Take out the items that I keep in there for camping. And then we move on to how I keep this bag all the time when it's on my bike. And typically I wouldn't even have my top case on here. That's how useful and versatile I found this tail bag to be. I very rarely use the top case anymore, but in the bag, whenever I'm just running around, I don't have it packed for a moto trip or anything, I'll always have my toolkit, which we reviewed in my last video, or at least went through. I'll have my inflator. And then I also like to keep an assortment of straps off to the side right here, just in case I need any extra capacity whenever I am lugging this thing around. So, you know, maybe I need to throw a box on the top to take to UPS or to the post office. I've got straps back here that I can use to do that. I will say another con of this bag is that it's very hard to clean. You'll notice that the zippers have not done a great job of keeping dirt and dust out of the inside of the bag. And I also find that the outside of the bag is particularly hard to keep clean and wash as well. Would I recommend this bag to someone else? Yes. Now, there are a couple of things with this bag that I think are important to note. Some of the straps where they attach to the bag, where the seam is sewn in, can be kind of weak. On a couple of Nelson Rigg products, I've seen straps pull out of where they're sewn into the bag. That's something that Nelson Rigg has always fixed anytime that I have reached out to them about it. They have great customer service when it comes to that kind of thing. The other thing that I've noticed when it comes to degradation over long-term ownership is that sometimes the zippers tend to get snagged. Ever since they've gotten dirty and dusty, I've noticed that they don't operate as smoothly. And more importantly, I've got some sections on the zipper of my bigger bag here where the zipper actually doesn't come together like it's supposed to anymore. I've put a lot of dirt miles on this bag where there's a ton of dust, a ton of like mud and water and moisture and all that kind of thing getting stuck in the zippers. So that's not necessarily a knock on this bag. I think that this bag is very durable. It's very versatile. I just think that if you're going to be riding in conditions where it might be dusty or dirty, you'll find, as expected, some components of the bag start to wear out. It's very cheap for what it is. The customer service from the company is absolutely incredible, and I find that it's a pretty durable and very versatile little bag to have on the back of your bike. So when it comes to riding a jack of all trades, I think it's also important to have luggage that serves the same purpose. Sometimes hard luggage like this can lock you into one particular type of terrain. Sometimes certain pieces of soft luggage like this are only good if you're going to pack it full on a long trip, like if you have a duffel bag that can't be secured to the bike unless it has something in it. I find that the Nelson Rigg Trails End Adventure and Dual Sport tail bags tend to be the best jack of all trades that I've found for adventure and dual sport bikes alike. If you have another type of tail bag that you found works in the same way that these do and works as well as these do, please let me know that in the comments. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. That's a wrap. So I guess we should get the bike back home. See you there.